Hi, so the intent of this process is to install drivers that are missing from the installation. If they can't be installed from Windows Update, which is the first choice, we'll then try and install them off the red server because they might already be there. And if that doesn't work, we'll find them on the internet, install them, and then save the install files on a USB such that the red server can be updated and the next person can use your driver or use the driver you've just found. The idea here is that this process of finding drivers on the internet is only done once and never repeated, never has to be repeated. So the first thing is, this is an example. It's not a real problem. There is an unknown device here, so you can find out a bit more about it by having a look at its properties. And if you look at the hardware IDs, you can see it's an SMO8810. Put that into the internet. SMO, see, I've already done it. And you can scroll through this trying to find out actually what it is. It says this device allows the laptop to detect if it's been dropped. So it's an accelerometer. Now typically these sort of drivers can be accelerometers, card readers, webcams, the odd things that are sort of mostly on laptops, but could be anything. But an accelerometer is pretty common. Okay, so what we can do is go to Windows Update, down here, have a look at optional updates and driver updates, and scroll through here and see if we can find an accelerometer. Well, there it is. STM Microelectronics make accelerometers. I happen to know that. If for instance, that didn't actually say it was ST Microelectronics, but probably if you go down to something like this, what is close enough? There you go, it is a accelerometer. So if you tick that, where's it gone? If you tick that and download and install, that will solve the problem. But since this is an example, we're not going to do that. Oh, and by the way, if you can't see it, you can basically tick anything you think might be useful. I mean, for instance, Intel system, that's always useful. Install those, and when it's finished, restart Windows Update, and it sometimes finds more drivers that it thinks you might like, and sometimes you get lucky and it's there. However, supposing that didn't work, what you'd have to do is search on the red, just go and find it on the red server. So I'll show you that next. Right, so if Update didn't find it, next thing to do is to load it from the server. So go to the unknown device. Oh, by the way, I've had to remove it from the server to make sure it doesn't install. But anyway, properties, driver, update driver, and browse my computer, and you see it goes straight to server 1, install 10 drivers. And that's where we're putting all these drivers that are unique and aren't found in Windows Update. So if you run that, there's a good chance that somebody's already loaded the driver, it'll install, and that'll be the end of your problems. But we're not going to do that because this is an example of what happens if you have a really problematic one that has never been loaded onto the red server. So let's see if we can, well, let's go and find this on the web. Okay, I'll cancel that. So, on the red server, you probably recognize this, in install 10 drivers, there's a, oh, incidentally, believe it or not, that probably is the accelerometer. In fact, I know it is. But this, if you run this with PowerShell, it will give you the information about your system and allow you to copy it by hand. Now, it's a Dell Latitude 6230, there's the serial number there. So we need to copy that. Usually, I mean, this is usually what you have to do. And go to drivers and downloads for Dell. Obviously, If you're on an HP, go there, Lenovo, ditto. Type it in. Wrong place, type it in here. Drivers and downloads. Okay. So we're now going to manually find a thing. This automatic thing's not generally useful. And here are all the drivers. Ooh, critical BIOS. Well, whatever. But we're basically trying to get rid of the missing drivers, and sure enough, there's one. So what you do is you download this. And you'd install it. Now notice you can, some drivers allow you to extract the files, which is exactly what you want for the red server, but not all of them, especially sort of Intel ones tend not to, but basically we're going to install it and then get the files for the red server. So we install it. Yeah, this actually can take quite a while, so I think maybe I'll stop the video while this carries on. Okay, so it asks me to accept the terms and conditions, etc, etc. But you can see it's now installed it. It wants me to restart the computer before the thing will actually work, but in the meantime all the drives have gone, and there it is. So it's been installed. Now all we have to do is get the driver package. That's the driver package, the driver itself, SYS, the inf file, INF, and anything else that it needs. Notice that it's called stxl.sys. When it was installed it was printed to drivers, but that's not actually where it came from. It actually comes from System32 driver store file repository. Now the easiest way to find it is to sort it by date modified, and there you can see it's today. It's that one. And sure enough, there's the driver, and there's the inf file, there's the cab file, which is the certificate, and very necessary. So all we do is copy that onto the USB stick, which is used to transport it to Red 1. Now the USB stick has the contents of the red server on it. No, it's already got the it's already got the accelerometer on it. But anyway, just paste it into that. Rename it to something useful. Well, not useful, but something less sort of, you know, to about that. Well, actually, we're going to have to call it 2, aren't we? Now you can put it into one of these directories, just to keep the number of directories in the root of the driver's directory minimal, but it doesn't really matter. Having put it on the USB, give it to somebody in the server room to put on the server, and then anybody else will be able to use it again by updating the driver using browse and browsing to server 1 install 10 drivers, and you'll see that one you just put in there. That's how we minimize the amount of rework in the office. Okay, any questions? Ask me.